Hi to all of you, and thank you for coming today. My name is Lauren Jacobs. I'm the Executive Director of what is now the formerly named Partnership for Working Families Network. We are thrilled to be here with you all, albeit virtually. You are all many friends, many family, allies, movement siblings. We've walked together, we've marched together because we all seek to see a world where the dignity and beauty of each human being, each tree, each grain of sand, each drop of the sea is held sacred. And we are thrilled to be with you tonight as we take the leap into the next era of our organization's life. Your support and partnership is so deeply appreciated. So I am going to play the role of kind of party host tonight, and like any host, I'd love to have people start to introduce themselves. So go ahead, put your name into the chat, your pronouns, and tell us something you love about the place you call your hometown or home city. What's the name of that place too? So today, over the next 60 minutes or so, we want to celebrate with you our roots, and we'll be joined by some of our past leaders. And we also want to celebrate the future, where we're headed. We will have a new name, and that is super exciting. But most importantly, we have a new long-term agenda that we want to share with you. But first, I want to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. We want to send gratitude to all those who are invested in this moment and on this journey with us. Thank you so much. I also want to note we're recording this event because we want to be able to remember it and share it with folks in the future as well. To kick things off, we are joined by an amazing artist, Reese Palmer. Artists are such a vital part of our movement families. They help us tell our dreams and hopes in the language of the heart. Reese made her mark in country music, but she's equally at home in R&B and bringing the entire spectrum of popular music to bear on music she calls Southern Soul. She is the daughter of Georgia natives. Reese was born near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and spent her adolescent years in St. Louis, Missouri. So she, like many of us, probably has a number of places that are our hometown or our home city. So without further ado, here is Reese Palmer to sing her song, Seeds.
Hi everybody, my name is Reese Palmer and I am super excited to be with you today. And the song that I'm going to be doing is a song that I wrote called Seeds. And it's based on the proverb, they tried to cut us down, they didn't know that we were seeds. And I feel like this song has so much alignment with the network's process to reset their vision and to meet the challenges and opportunities of this historical moment. So I hope you enjoy, and this is Seeds. Brothers and sisters, don't believe what you've been sold. They can bury your body, but never touch your soul. They built you a prison, locked up your mind, made you think you're nothing, and filled your head with lies. Can't act too free, act too proud, shine too bright, speak too loud. When they come to cut you down, that's when you gotta stand your ground. When they bury your dreams, we push them up through concrete. We growing where they can't see. These roots run deep, cause we are seeds. When we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No wall can block us. No hate can stop love. We are seeds. Hey, I said we are seeds. Oh yeah. Listen, mothers and fathers, ancestors of this earth, bring your strength and wisdom. Teach your children what they're worth. Cause armed with truth and mercy, they won't fall to anyone. reaching for the sun. When they bury our dreams, we push them up through concrete. We growing where they can't see. These roots run deep, cause we are seeds. When we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No wall can block us. No one can stop love. I said we are seeds. Hey, I said we are seeds. Yeah. Said the battle is now, and we are the army. Said the battle is now, we are the army. Said the battle is now, and we are the army. Said the battle is now, it's now, it's now, right now. Hey, when they bury our dreams, we push them up through concrete. We growing when they can't see. These roots run deep, cause we are seeds. When we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No one can block us. No hate can stop love. We are seeds. Hey, hey, I said we are seeds. Oh yeah. And when we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No wall can block us. No one can stop love. I said we are seeds.
Yes, we are the army, an army of love, and we are the seeds breaking through the concrete. Thank you, Reese, for performing a song that speaks to why we are here today. What a beautiful way to start this event. We've shared Reese Palmer's website in the chat if you want to hear more from her music. I hope you do, and I hope you will. For those of you who joined a little late, welcome to this event, to this celebration. Today, we want to spend some time looking back and reflecting and celebrating our roots, where we came from, and then we forward and share with you some about our long-term agenda and vision for the future, as well as sharing our new name. And I want to, pass to some of my colleagues who have some things to say about our past.
The organization has changed so many lives. When I look at the last 15, 16 years of our organization, I'm looking at the work that we have done collectively. Each organization has made an impact in their region and in this country.
I think some of the most incredible campaigns that the partnership has been part of are the ones on the ground fighting for both community benefits, quality jobs, a real neighborhood voice in economic development, really building power and changing the way cities have to answer to their voters, their taxpayers, the people who live and work in their city.
Our work has raised the wages of millions of low-wage workers, putting literally billions of dollars into their pockets. We know that we've created or preserved tens of thousands of affordable housing units, enabling people to stay in their homes and communities. And we know that we've reduced greenhouse gases equivalent to taking millions of cars off the road.
We've provided, family supporting benefits like paid family leave, and we've made jobs more secure. We've won housing and jobs for community members in which those developments were happening.
What can I as one person do with that little slice of power here in this place, in this city, to change the trajectory of the rise of authoritarianism globally and the destruction to our climate and our planet and our people that's coming along with it?
We are a movement, and we're not just, a person here or a person there.
Taking on corporate power in a real way and winning against, somebody like Amazon was really a beautiful day, because really it's about putting what communities need first, putting workers first, making sure that we're really building the kind of robust, thriving communities that matter, right, that we can raise our children in.
So much of the work we did was to share how folks were leveraging community power to make development accountable in their cities.
Looking at the companies who come to our cities like they're going to take them over and saying, no, you are going to be our guests, and we are going to set the terms by which you come and work with our people and exist in our land and share air and water with us.
One of the biggest lessons I've learned, again, is that no place is an island. We need movement building institutions that can help really lift up and grow the impact and bring the impact to really capitalism at a global level.
This network is where I have learned, by watching other women of color, how to be authentic and powerful and curious and scared and demanding and visionary all at the same time.
The foundation of any campaign is really making sure that the folks that are most impacted are the ones at the front of the campaign, are the ones that are sharing the story, are the ones that are talking to elected officials.
Our model of bottom-up transformation is the right one. To build power and solutions that actually work on the ground, we have to start in our cities and towns and work upward from there.
The relationships that we have built in the partnership have been instrumental for my growth and development, but also the growth and development of our organizations.
We are about building real relationships and doing this work together.
When real people find their voice and find their power and organize together with others, their coworkers, other community members, in coalitions, there's so much that we can accomplish and we have accomplished.
Our network is filled with so many powerful strategic leaders who, while acting locally to make change, think and strive to have those actions reverberate nationally. Together, they have impacted the lives of millions of people in cities and towns across the country. We wanted to acknowledge and give gratitude to the partnership leaders who have contributed to building this organization into what you are witnessing today. We want to thank our co-founders, Amaha Casa, Amy Dean, Madeline Janis, and Donald Cohen. We want to thank past and present board members, past and present staff members, some of whom are on this meeting tonight, this event with us tonight, past and present funders, community members, and workers across the country that have led campaigns to improve so many lives. I'm the current executive director, and I want to honor and spotlight the two executive directors that came before me. Leslie Moody led the organization between 2007 and 2013, and Nikki Fortunata Bass was the executive director that preceded me from 2013 through 2018. In fact, Nikki hired me. Super grateful, and Nikki is now the city council president for the city of Oakland. I want to welcome them both here with us tonight. Thank you both for being here.
Great to be here, Lauren.
Hey, Nikki.
Hi.
And Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
Hi, guys. It's great to see you.
Leslie, great to see you both. Wow. Leslie, I want to start with asking you, we'll move chronologically. Leslie, you led the network as it was expanding nationally, going from just a California network to a national network. Can you share why it was so important to build the Partnership for Working Families?
Yeah, you heard a lot of it on the video just there, because that was a lot of folks that we were working with back in the early 2000s. Just a tiny bit of placement about what was going on in 2005, 6, 7, when we were really launching. The labor movement was fracturing at the top. some of us recall, and unions and campaigns that had really brought a lot of us into organizing and into building local power, like Justice for Janitors and Union Cities and the hotel development, Hotel Workers Rising campaigns. A lot of those folks weren't talking to each other anymore nationally. And we had a model. California was leading from the ground up. There were, the leaders you mentioned in cities up and down the coast were really testing the waters on trying to build permanent transformational movements that united labor and community and faith and environmental organizations. And a lot of us outside of California were hungry, really hungry for that same commitment, that same kind of power, and for relationships with folks in other cities who were trying new things and weren't afraid to shoot into the dark, right? And to see what they could make happen. So a lot of us had been, traveling around the country, meeting each other, sending our staff to, hang out with Omaha or Amy and her team, and, really like just trying to see what we could learn from other cities. And at that point, a moment presented itself. And, Donald and Madeline and Phaedra at the time in Omaha were like, hey, we got to really seize this. And brought a meeting together in Denver in 2006 at the Labor Federation with folks from 15 cities to really think together about what we could build and how to build it intentionally and really carefully. So we needed each other. We needed leadership that looked nothing like leadership we had seen before. We needed to invest in each other. We needed to boost each other up and not be in competition. And was just an opportunity to really share important lessons and learn how to morph off of each other's work for different political climates. And, as Nikki can testify, to recruit and develop and hold accountable leadership that comes out of our movement to create the cities that we want to live in. So great privilege and honor. Love all you guys. It's really wonderful to see you all and be part of this. Congratulations, Lauren, too. I haven't gotten to chat with you much. Great work. This is really
we do it publicly, but yes, this is.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to be here with the two of you. This is just, it's really such an honor. And Nikki, I want to turn to you. I mean, you've inspired so many folks. I was inspired by you to come work at the partnership, and you were very visionary and had a lot of views about what was the next leaps that we need to be taking. And now we see you demonstrating the power of co-governance in Oakland and moving a powerful agenda for housing for all and real public safety. Can you talk about what are your hopes for the future of the partnership?
Sure. I mean, when I left the partnership, I have to say it was so exciting to see you take over, Lauren, and so many of the partnership EDs and board members just take the work to new levels. And so I'm really hoping that there will continue to be incredible leadership development, a pipeline not only into the organizations of the partnership, but also into governance. I've been just really excited to be on the Oakland City Council for the past 2.5 years. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we have done, and shout out to my Oakland crew, eBase, and so many others, Stephen Pitts. We've been doing amazing work here in Oakland. Coalition work is so important, and it's that co-governance that I learned at the partnership that is enabling me to really push the envelope, not only around housing development, but also around reimagining public safety and being among very few cities who actually followed through after the murder of George Floyd to redirect police funding into violence prevention. So it's super exciting. And what I want to see more of is just more growth, more leadership, more power, more co-governance. I don't want to be so alone in this seat inside City Hall. I want lots of people to be joining me, working with me, and continuing to build out this co-governance model.
Well, could not have wished for a better conversation on this night as we're taking this step together. We are so grateful for the leadership you both gave to this organization that really built the strong foundation of collaboration and strength. You both mentioned this so much. That value continues to this day in this organization, and it is what set us on the path to where we are today. Thank you both for joining us. Next, I'd like to welcome one of our affiliate executive directors and our board secretary treasurer, Jennifer Raffanon Kennedy.
Thanks so much, Lauren. I'm so excited to be here and so excited to be part of this network. It was just amazing to see the three of you together. My name is Jennifer Raffanon Kennedy. I'm the executive director of Pittsburgh United and Pennsylvania United. In 2017, our network came together and we knew that the future of our society was on the line. Incremental wins for working families have been hard fought, but not enough to dismantle systemic oppression. White supremacy and authoritarianism were and are on the rise globally. In the United States, working conditions have declined for decades as special interest groups have rigged our economy for the rich. That is what we are up against. We knew we needed to build power like never before to defend our democracy, transform our economy into one that works for people and workers, and to build strong, long-standing organizations where people can be in solidarity with each other to build the kind of communities we all deserve. During last year's racial uprisings, we saw millions of people take to the streets in solidarity. We've seen workers fight for dignity and power on the job and win. We as a network have hope and are ready to meet this moment. So to share more about our journey and the clarity and vision for where we are going, I'd like to introduce Dorian Warren, who will be interviewing our executive director, Lauren Jacobs. Dorian is co-president of Community Change and Community Change Action, co-chair of the Economic Security Project and co-host of System Check podcast, a progressive scholar, organizer, and media personality. Dorian has worked to advance racial, economic, and social justice for over 2 decades. He taught for more than a decade at the University of Chicago and Columbia University, where he was co-director of the Columbia University program on labor law and policy. He also worked at MSNBC, where he was a contributor and host, as well as the executive producer of Nerding Out on MSNBC's digital platform. Dorian has a deep connection to our network. He serves on the boards of Working Partnerships USA and is a former board member at our affiliate in New York, Align New York. Please join me in welcoming Dorian Warren.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for that way too long introduction. And Lauren, I just have to say, it is so great to be here with you. And I just have to pause, actually, because I'm getting a little choked up by seeing you, Nikki, and Leslie together, and then just seeing all these powerful women, and particularly women of color leaders from this network. As you know, I studied this network when I was kind of a baby academic, and then I've been on the boards of some of the affiliates. But more importantly, we've known each other for 20 years. We actually met in 2001 by a mutual friend when you were a baby organizer, organizing janitors. And I have followed your career ever since, and I'm just so, so proud to be here with you and to have this conversation. So let's jump in, because I got a lot of questions for you. And I want to start with where Jenny just left off, because she shared the story of how you made the decision to take your work to the next level. So I know that this is the last few moments that the partnership will be known as the partnership, but talk to us about how did you decide and how long did the process take around what you're going to announce in a few minutes?
Yeah, Dorian, thank you for exposing how old both of us are. But yeah, I'm so happy to be in this conversation with you, especially somebody who's known our organization and me for a long time. So we began this process of examining where we are, and I'm saying we as a people, all of us are in this historical moment where we've been, and then also taking a leap to think about where we want to go. We started that in November of 2017 and concluded what we call our long-term agenda, our navigator's map. So in the spring of 2020. Jenny talked about sort of the challenges that we saw that spurred us and quickened our step. but it was also really thinking about hope. And we just envisioned little girls, little boys, non-binary kids like us, Black, Indigenous, Latina, Asian kids were growing up, and we wanted to make a commitment to them that we weren't going to just fight for a world that hurt them a little less than what we had suffered, but we were going to really fight for them to be free. And that was what we wanted to set as our North Star.
So talk to us about say more about who was part of this process, how you did this, and don't tell us where you landed just yet, because I want to tease that for a little while longer so everybody stays tuned in. But just talk to us more about the process. Who was part of it, and how did you do it?
Look, we commit. You're hearing a lot about us talking about doing things together, doing things in concert. That is part of who we are, and we built this together. It was affiliate senior staff. It was executive directors of affiliates. It was our national staff. And we used all the decades of experience between all of us, experience of organizing workers, confronting developers, fighting privatization, to bring into this conversation. And we read. And then we didn't just stay just us. We had, friends and guest speakers come and share their insights on particular topics, but also to really provoke and challenge us on assumptions that we had. And we even took a learning trip to Barcelona, where we met with our counterparts from Barcelona and Camus and in the larger popular movement in that city.
You just said a key word. You said a lot there, but the thing that just jumped out at me is you said you read. And the former academic in me got super, super excited because, oh my God, y'all did the reading. And but it wasn't just an academic exercise, right? So how did you connect the reading and the trips to Barcelona and other places and the discussions and that intellectual work to the underground organizing work and to the present political moment?
Yeah, there's a huge risk you can have in undertaking something like this, that it can become an academic exercise and lose its connection to the actual work and the actual people on the ground. So we tackled this by really tying our discussions and analysis and strategizing and thinking about strategy to the work that we were currently undertaking, and really try to think about it from what would have to change, what is different, how do we expand out our understanding. So we looked at public goods and public finance and real estate and land, but we deepened our understanding of neoliberalism and one of its manifestations is financialization and how this affects the work. You've brought people together around this topic as well. We studied how working people from start of the 20th century going forward have fought for power at their workplaces, in their industries, and how laws have evolved and why did those laws change, and really sort of dug in at why is it so hard for working people to exercise freedom of speech, freedom of association, and freedom of assembly at work. And then we looked at the climate crisis, which is all of our crises, right? We are all on this planet. And we, dug in there. Yes, fossil fuels, but we really dug in, and from the people we heard from, we have incorporated into our analysis and understanding that this climate crisis is rooted in colonialism. It's rooted in the genocide of indigenous peoples. It's rooted in chattel slavery. It's rooted in exploiting human beings to exploit the resources of the planet. So what does all that mean? Well, it meant that we had to start thinking about power and how we wield it and what we want differently. So if we only build campaigns that only demand or only fight for things that are within our power at the moment to get, we won't build strategies that amass more power. We won't build strategies that take power from the currently powerful, and we condemn ourselves to always be outside, never in power. And we also saw we can't be a movement of people who are only oppose bad things or can only think within the confines of the current debate at the moment. So we had to say, what are we for and what is the world we are trying to shape? And to put it plainly, even more plainly, I know there's a lot of folks who have organized in the workplaces, have joined with workers in their organizing, have led campaigns, and all of y'all know You never accidentally win more than you demand. So if we want freedom for our people, then we need to name what that looks like.
Okay, I think I said amen in my head like 10 times in the last 30 seconds to everything you were just saying, and especially the point about we can't just oppose things and the point about the demands, right? So paint us a picture of what this new world that we can organize and win to bring into creation. What does this new world look like? And what is that North Star? So paint us that picture, Lauren.
Yeah, I want to first share like our North Star sort of re-language, repurposed is we are committed to realizing multiracial feminist democracies in our cities and towns as a means to liberate working people, gender oppressed people, Black, Indigenous, Latina, Asian immigrant people, and LGBTQIA people. Cities and towns are some of the oldest forms of human organization, and we believe that they can provide powerful counters to the hegemony of neoliberalism. So I want you to go with me and think about this. I want you to imagine cities and towns where housing, food, health are no longer commodities denied to the many for the benefit of the wealthy few. Cities and towns where we care for children, the elderly and disabled, and that is centered as important to all of us because it is, where the land and natural resources are commonly stewarded, where public spaces, squares, libraries are protected because we know they're critical to the infrastructure of democracy, where work is meaningful and safe and workers have a share in the wealth that they actually generated, and where democracy is wide, expansive, inclusive. Immigrants are voting, young people are voting. We revere and respect the power and intellect of everyday people to determine how the resources we all hold in common are spent. And we say this as feminists because while we embrace that we have to fight in the workplace, we also know that the neighborhoods, our homes, are also sites of struggle too. And as feminists, we embrace social reproduction as a key area of struggle for the movement.
Lauren, I'm trying not to cuss out of excitement because you're like saying all the damn words, right? Like democracy, that's this is different. Let's be clear. This is a different vision. It is a powerful vision. It is not a moment too soon. We need it right now. So say a bit more about how you pair the vision, this powerful, uplifting, just like, I think Derek is crying right now if we could see her, just like amazing vision. How do you pair the vision with the actual substantive organizing that centers the communities most impacted by injustice? So what does this mean? What does this vision mean for the work that you're going to be doing going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, what you're naming is okay. You know, we know where we've been. You named where you want to go. What's the bridge in between? And that's where strategy fits in. So we did the work of debating and discussing and actually identified 8 strategic imperatives that we believe the actual whole movement needs to be focused on at this moment. You can call me up or email me if you want to know, but I'm going to share the 4 that our network says we're going to focus on tonight. The first one is we are committed and dedicated to fighting and building that inclusive, expansive democracy. Everywhere we can, we want to bring the voices of everyday people into the center of all the decisions that affect our lives daily. Part of doing that is, 2, we want to build, support, and we want to create and strengthen people's organizations. The organizations are critical for people to like live into democracy. Folks being together in common struggle together, making decisions together, learning and meeting their neighbors and interacting with is critical to moving forward. And that takes me to 3. We're going to fight for a people's economy that benefits the many and not the few. And we see, obviously, we need to fight in the halls of where decisions are made. We need to fight to have large organizations that are up to that task. And we want to use that power to transform the economy. And we know we're not going to do that without a fight. And so we are prepared as our fourth imperative to take the fight directly to corporations. So these strategic imperatives will drive our work regarding public goods and public dollars, housing and land justice, worker power and worker voice, state preemption, or what we call actually corporate interference into decisions of localities. And we developed campaign criteria that's going to help us evaluate if our work is connected to these imperatives, as well as if our work is both combating the bad in the present, but looking ahead to what are the advances we're trying to make. Like, is the work making it possible to do tomorrow what we don't have the power to do today? Yes, I'm quoting somebody. And it's not, I want to say, like, I want to keep saying people might be like, feminists, wow, what does that mean for this network? Look, I think you can see women's leadership is not a secret in this network, specifically women of color. And I think that shows up also in how we do our organizing. We believe in collective, multi-organizational, multi-sector action and collaboration. It's so rooted in our DNA. You heard Nikki and Leslie talk about this. And we see that firmly as a feminist belief that there's no charismatic person or organization or assemblage that's going to win the day. We will only win the future we want and need if all of us are acting together.
If we were in person, and I'm not a religious person, I don't wear it on my sleeve, but I would just say, let the church say amen again. And I wanna, that's just incredible. You leaving me speechless, okay? So that was just an incredibly powerful picture you just painted of the vision. And so I wanna also talk about what you see as the challenges in this moment to which the movement needs to rise to the occasion. And I'm thinking of just like the last year and a half we've been living through, right? Of multiple crises, a public health crisis, economic crisis, a racial injustice crisis, a longstanding economic crisis in terms of worker power, a democracy crisis. It feels like we're hanging on by a thread to our democracy. So talk to us about what are the important challenges and opportunities ahead of us in the coming years, in your view and from where you sit?
Yeah, if we had more time, I would totally actually want to turn this question even on you too. And want to acknowledge that Dorian was, along with Tarza Ramos, was one of the first folks that spoke to the network right after the results of the election of 2016 that started this sort of planted the seed about why we needed to be thinking long. You're right, we haven't emerged from the woods yet, so we need to keep moving and fighting with all the urgency and heart that we did the last 4 years. And I would say even more, because the forces we're up against really have their sights set on trying to ensure that the US returns to, whatever your analysis is, a white ethno-patriarchal state, and we will not have it. But I don't want us to despair. And I don't want you to despair, because we did all just witness millions of people turned out and they leaned into a multiracial vision of democracy that was centered on community care as a reaction to the pandemic that we continue to live through. And I think we also saw millions turn out to demand an end to state-sanctioned white supremacist violence by the police on our communities. There is a yearning for a new economy and a new way of being in relation with each other. I think you see it when people are setting up pantries on their corners, right, to feed their neighbors. And we need to lean into it. Our work as organizers is to nurture those impulses, develop people's leadership so they can be the heroes of transforming their own communities and towns and states in this country.
I want to talk to you for a whole nother hour, but I'm being told we are out of time, Lauren Jacobs. So I just want to express my deep gratitude and appreciation for your leadership of the network and the leaderful network that you're just so inspiring to so many of us. And I'm like, I'm gonna hold back my own tears of just this moment because it's just so powerful. So thank you for sharing your journey today. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. I think in the chat, there's just so much love from all of us here. And I got your back, sis, and you know that, and I'm here for whatever you need. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
Same. Thank you, Dorian. Thank you for being such a great friend to me. I love you. And also for being such a great friend to this movement. I'm so happy to be in the fight with folks like Dorian, and that he was able to be here today. And now I really am excited to turn this over to 3 amazing partnership leaders who have an announcement to make.
Well, thanks, Lauren and Dorian. And hey, Rox.
Hey, Deborah. Hello, Felicia.
Hey, Rox. Hey, Deborah. It's so good to see you both. I'm kind of wondering if they put us together because we are the seasoned part of the network.
What? Did you just call me old?
No, I said seasoned, not old. By the way, Deborah, how long have you been a part of the network?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. I'm glad Leslie reminded us of the date because we joined Georgia Stand Up started in 2005, and I was at that first meeting in 2006. But really, the conversation started in 2004. So we were there from almost the very beginning. And Roxanne, how about you? How long have you been in the network?
Elaine was one of the founding members, so we've definitely been around for a while. And, you know, I've been bringing my babies to meetings for a long time, and they're getting old now.
It has been such a pleasure to work with the two of you over the past almost 9 years. So how does it feel today to relaunch this organization?
So for me, it's almost like coming home, back to the beginning. We've been with Georgia Stand Up for the last 16 years, and of course we have been in the middle of this mess in Georgia. But it feels good. This is a bright spot in our day. It feels good that this partnership has not only survived, but has thrived. And I just want to take this a minute just to say, thank you. The incredible leaders that we have had, from Madeline to Donald and Leslie and John and Amaha and Amy and Sabrina and Nikki, Ben, Julian, Phaedra, and of course, Felicia and Lauren. I just want to thank you. I'm so proud, and we've had some times, but I'm so proud to be a part of this network.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've got a ditto, Deborah, on the leadership, our gratitude to the folks who got us started and the amazing leaders that we have now. And my faith and belief in how exciting it is to be in deep solidarity and deep commitment to really achieve these ambitious goals that we have created for ourselves, all grounded in the power of organizing in our cities. So I couldn't be prouder. It's really exciting to see this come to fruition.
All right, ladies, we've kept these folks waiting long enough. People have wanted to know. Our new name captures our ambition, our fearlessness, and our determination. The new name of the Partnership for Working Families is PowerSwitch Action!
We are so thrilled to be able to announce this to everybody. Yay!
So what the future looks like to me is one where I get to dance in the streets instead of protesting in them.
I imagine a future where everyone, regardless of who you are, what you look like, has what they need in order to thrive and is treated with the dignity that we're all born with.
To me, what our long-term agenda represents is a future that's not just an iteration on the challenges and the negatives of the past, but a fundamental rethinking of democracy, of government, of community that reflects the experiences of folks who've been the most oppressed in our society, leading the way to a new future, and one that leads to thriving and nurturing of everyone.
The long-term agenda is extremely important because the same problems that we're facing here in Nashville are the same issues that you're seeing across the country. We hear the same exact urgency, desperation in people's voices, and the issues that they need to have addressed, and that is in the Bay Area all the way to the East Coast. It's the exact same here in the South, We are stronger together, pushing forward and having one cohesive strategy makes us stronger, as a nation, instead of just working in our individual silos.
Reaching multiracial feminist democracy is about renewing ourselves to a project of believing in the capacity and brilliance of all the people in our communities. Every social housing project, every new public budget that is debated by thousands of residents and citizens is all a glimpse of the future that we believe that we can make together.
We're coming out of incredibly dark times. The future that the partnership is making real step by step is one where the light of justice is more inclusive and more impactful.
Where we don't have pollution, where we don't have corporations really extracting resources from our planet and from our neighborhoods, where we have people feeling healthy and feeling secure in their workplaces, feeling secure in the neighborhoods where they live, where they feel secure in their homes. That's the kind of future that I see, a future where people can thrive, that our planet can actually coexist with everybody else, and a future that I hope my kid can carry on in their life.
We can avert that catastrophe, and we can be a part of doing that in a way that fundamentally realigns the way power is, that is a lot more equitable.
We're talking about public transit, affordable housing, roads and bridges, but also about social infrastructure, which is about childcare, healthcare, education. And so those public services are what we believe need to be invested in the people's economy.
With corporations setting the rules, families struggle to pay the rent, pay the bills, and have time to spend with their families. And families of color are the ones feeling the biggest brunt of this. In the people's economy, workers would just need one job to sustain themselves, and every person would be treated with dignity. That would be the priority, not corporations' bottom line.
One of the basic things that women, that people of color don't have access to is a home that they can pass on to the next generation. That very basic wealth, security has been denied to people of color.
We're not going to beat economic exploitation unless we end white supremacy and patriarchy, period.
As individual people, we can accomplish nothing beyond ourselves, but with an organization, we can move mountains.
Corporations are currently holding the power and shaping the way our democracy functions. And the only thing that can combat this is people power, which is informed, empowered community of workers, people of color, voters, immigrants, all of us coming together saying that we are worth it.
Democracy is not about just marking a battle of like my individual choice of who I think is better of 2 or 3 people. It is about the practice of understanding about everybody that I'm in community with. How are they understanding things? And then being together and making decisions. Sometimes that might mean that the thing that's most important to me isn't the top issue that gets taken up, but that's okay because I'm with my people and I'm making a decision about what's in the best interest of all of us.
We are PowerSwitch.
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 We are PowerSwitch Action. Our vision is aspirational, it is intersectional, and it is fearless, and it centers justice for the communities with the most at stake. And it will be achieved through the leadership and solidarity of every one of us here tonight. We know that when people awaken to their collective power, nothing can stop us, and the future is still ours to define. We have the chance, all of us, to build a future where every child in every zip code has access to clean water and safe air, where every working person has dignity, safety, power, and the freedom to organize on the job, where everyday people have more voice and more power to determine how our society runs and how its resources are used, where housing is a right and not a luxury, where structural racism and sexism have been dismantled and destroyed. It's time for a power switch. All of this is within our reach if we do it together. We do live in tumultuous, scary times, but we also live in a time where there are bright rays of hope, sparks of the new world people want to see. We've seen a surge in workers organizing. Millions took to the street last summer to demand an end to state-sponsored white supremacist violence. And everyday people are running for office. And I see neighbors are locking arms and blocking streets to protect their own neighbors from eviction. It's time for a power switch. You can hear it, can't you? It's in the chants on the streets. It's in the sound of our feet as we march. You can hear it on the train, in the neighborhood coffee shops, when people talk about the billionaire shouldn't be this powerful or this rich. It's time for a power switch. And I want to say, I believe in all of us. I've spent almost 25 years of my life bearing witness to the power of people. And I know all of us here and the millions of us out there have it within us, the power to reshape this world. We can redeem this world. I want to thank you all, and I want to pass to my sister, Derica Marins, Executive Director of Working Partnerships, who is coming to the screen.
And is no longer crying. Hi everybody. I am Derica. I'm the Executive Director of Working Partnerships, and I could not be prouder to be the Vice Chair of the Board of PowerSwitch Action. I am incredibly inspired by our long-term vision, by what I've seen today, by this amazing community that came to hear this announcement. And Lauren, I want you to know that despite dozens of people trying to get it out of me, I swear to God, I didn't tell anybody. I have two things that we need you to do, everyone who's participating, all of you today. The first, you're going to get an email from us next week, and we need you to share it with your friends. We need you to post it to social media. We need you to share this amazing work and this vision that we have with your friends, and help us spread the word about PowerSwitch Action's long-term agenda. The second thing, this work takes resources, y'all. You know this. And one of the things that I don't know if everyone knows is that our network doesn't just raise funds for the national organization. We have a commitment that 50% of the resources that are raised are subgranted to the ground, to our affiliates on the front lines. For those of you who are ready to make a commitment today, and for those who can do a donation of $250 or become a monthly sustainer of $21 per month, guess what? You're going to be some of the first to get PowerSwitch Action swag. You should see it in the link to the chat. There should be a link coming up in the chat if it hasn't already, to make your donation. Please support this incredible work. I can't thank you enough for joining. Thank you for your support. And with that, I'll pass it on to three of my incredible colleagues.
Thanks, Derica. Hi, everybody. I'm Jamise Myers, and I'm the Leadership Development Director with PowerSwitch National Team. I'm joining y'all from Ohlone Land, also known to many as Oakland, California.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lee Matsueda, a proud member of the PowerSwitch Action Board and the Executive Director of Community Labor United, joining from Massachusetts, Wampanoag, and Nipmuc Land, also known as Boston, Massachusetts.
Hi, Lee. Hi, Jamise. And hi, everybody. I'm Mariah Montgomery. I am PowerSwitch Action's National Campaigns Director with the national team, and I am joining from Canarsie Land, also known to many as Brooklyn.
We wanted to thank y'all for joining us today for this relaunch. We also want to end the program with deep, deep gratitude, not only for each of you, but also for our ancestors and freedom fighters who are at our back, who through their work, through their guidance, have brought us to this really sacred and important moment in our work. So Mariah, Lee, and I are each going to close with some wisdom from our movement for mothers.
Berta Cáceres was a Honduran indigenous leader, land defender, and radical human rights activist. He said, "Let us build societies that are able to coexist in a dignified way, in a way that protects life, come together and remain hopeful as we defend and care for the blood of this earth and its spirit."
We know Fannie Lou Hamer, former sharecropper and co-founder of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, for being sick and tired of being sick and tired. She helped us see that our liberation is bound up in each other's freedom.
And finally, the beloved Grace Lee Boggs, an Asian American intersectional feminist, activist, and scholar known for building multiracial working class movements. She says, "You cannot change any society unless you take responsibility for it, unless you see yourself as belonging to it and responsible for changing it."
I love that quote from Grace Lee Boggs. So lastly, we want to say thank you to all of you for joining us. We appreciate you taking your precious time to join us for this important moment and for walking with us in this struggle in the long term. And we want you to keep your eyes out for a new website and social platforms coming in the fall. And hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thanks so much.
Brothers and sisters, don't believe what you've been sold. They can bury your body, but never touch your soul. They built you a prison, locked up your mind, made you think you're nothing, and filled your head with lies. Can't act too free, act too proud, shine too bright, speak too loud. When they come to cut you down, that's when you gotta stand your ground. When they bury our dreams, we push them up through concrete. We growing where they can't see. These roots run deep, cause we are seeds. When we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No wall can block us. No hate can stop love. We are seeds. Hey, I said we are seeds. Oh yeah. Listen, mothers and fathers, ancestors of this earth, bring your strength and wisdom. Teach your children what they're worth. 'Cause armed with truth and mercy, they won't fall to anyone. They're standing on our shoulders, reaching for the sun. When they bury our dreams, we push them up through concrete. We growing where they can't see. These roots run deep, 'cause we are seeds. When we rise up, no weapon can stop us. No wall can block us. No, it can't stop love. I said we are seeds. Hey, I said we are seeds. Yeah. I said the battle is now, and we are the army. Said the battle